am going to drag them by their spinal cord until I get my money back. I will drag the living daylight out of them. Why give that information to customers when you know it does not apply? Like, make it make sense. Explain to me like I'm stupid. Explain to me like I have no brain cells at all. God, my heart still feels very heavy and I still feel very sad because I'm still yet to hear back from them. What started out as a great month for me, what started out as a great month for myself and my friend, a month that we have looked forward to, and we've poured our sweat, poured our tears, poured our money, poured our resources, poured our everything into, suddenly went down the drain. And that was where everything shattered or started shattering, I would say. 2025 was a year where we did not really do a lot of traveling as friends, so we then decided that we were going to go on a trip in December just to get away from the cold, rewind, unwind, be in a good place mentally, and just recuperate from all the stress of work and all of that. So we planned a holiday to Egypt in December of 2025. Meanwhile, we had booked our flight from, I think, July, August, September-ish. That was where we booked our flight, and we booked with British Airways. And I remember them sending a link after confirming that I had booked my flight. I checked the link, I saw that it was Hayati travel link, and that website is affiliated with British Airways. It's just a place where you are able to check the requirements that you need before you travel. So because we were flying to Cairo through British Airways and we're going to go from Cairo to Ogada through a connecting flight, we booked British Airways. And we had checked, we were going to go with visa on arrival because as Nigerians living in the UK with a visa, we could get visa on arrival going to Egypt. God, my heart still feels very heavy and I still feel very sad because I'm still yet to hear back from them, but I digress. We then started planning for our trips. We have booked hotels, made reservations, we have paid for our flights, packed our bags, and we even had to spend the night before the day of the flight at Heathrow Airport just because our flight was very early and we knew that we wouldn't be able to make it the morning of that flight. So we spent the previous night at Heathrow Airport, so extra money. The night before we were supposed to travel, I went on the British Airways website and I did my online check-in as per normal, and I saw the link again. I checked it again. I put where I was flying from, where I was flying to, and my nationality, and it said it was okay as long as I had a valid or a used UK visa, Schengen visa, or something like that. Then I'll put a screenshot of what it says, and then we'll be able to go to Egypt and get a visa on arrival. So cool, fine. I told my friend, oh, we're good, because with traveling, I'm always very paranoid until I actually get on the flight. So I tell my friend, do your check-in now, because I had done mine like on my way to Heathrow when I was on the train. I had done mine. So I told her to do her check-in. She checked in, and the morning of the flight came. We were all, happy. We looked forward to it. And for you to know how much we had looked forward to this trip, we did not make it heavy with itineraries like we would usually do when we are traveling, like we want to explore all the tourist areas and all of that. This, we were literally moving on vibes. Like, even at the intro of the video, I had said something like, this is the most chilled something vlog that you ever see on your timeline. We are about to go on the most unplanned, chilled what other verb or adjective can I use to describe this trip? The most nonchalant trip ever. The only thing that was planned are more like our leave, the dates, and the flight, and the hotel. But you see, this is the most spontaneous trip that you ever come across. because that was the plan. We did not have like any itinerary. We just wanted to go chill, relax, and go with the flow and not be pressured, to go on any or do any activities as the case may be. On the day of the flight, we got to the airport on time. We even planned to do content, and then we were running late. So we're like, okay, let's just check in first. And then when we get to the boarding gate, we can, do our videos and all of our shenanigans. We were so excited. We got to the gate and we had gotten to where we were going to drop off our bags, and that was where everything shattered or started shattering, I would say. So the lady that took our passports was like, oh, I'm gonna have to tell you guys to step aside. I'm not sure what's going on, because she had collected our passports and run you through like a check or something. So we're like, okay, that's fine. And I was still saying to my friend that I do feel like some of the staff in the airport are not privy to a lot of information. So sometimes they are not able to like help some of the customers. So she sends us to the family area where they were doing like their backdrops and checks and all of that. So cool, fine. We go on the line. We are there on the line, and then it gets to our turn. I was the first, and then I give her my passport and give her like my other documents, like my e-visa, my share code, and what's not. And she runs through the whole check thing and says to me, oh, I'm sorry, you cannot travel without a visa to Egypt. I'm like, no, run that again. Because I am a Nigerian with a valid UK visa. I work in the UK, so I should be able to travel to Egypt and get a visa on arrival. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, you need a visa. So I'm like, let me speak to your supervisor. I need to speak to somebody that knows what they're doing. So supervisor comes, we speak to him about it. He goes through everything. It's like, yeah, you can't fly without a visa. I start getting really agitated, really pissed, really angry, because I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I then told this supervisor that on your website, you guys have sent us a link to say that click on this link and then you see the requirements for your travel. We had gone to this link to check the requirements for our travel, and we saw that we could travel and get a visa on arrival when we get to Egypt. So why are we here and you're telling us something different, something entirely different? They're like, well, whatever is on the website doesn't apply. I'm like, so why give that information to customers when you know it does not apply? Make it make sense. Explain to me like I'm stupid. Explain to me like I have no brain cells at all. Why you would give information to customers on your website and they go make use of those information, apply it, and then they get to the airport and you're denying them boarding. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So we get bounced off the line because we've done a lot of back and forth. We have spoken, we have shouted, we've been calm, we've raised our voices, because at this point, I was so surprised that my friend was so calm, because she's usually the one that gets agitated and gets really angry. And I was the one who was now angry at the whole situation entirely. So we step aside, take our boxes out of the line, and they tell us, oh, we are going to hold your flight for 36 hours, and if you can get your visa in that time frame, then you guys can still fly. I'm like, what do you mean? We have booked flights, booked a lot of things, we have paid for a lot of things up front. What do you mean? We step out of the line and I am still very furious. I go on and try to contact British Airways customer service, and I kept being referred to this bot, like the AI thing. And at the end of the day, the bot sent me that same link. See, that's where I got really frustrated. I'm like, whatever help it is that I'm trying to get is pointing me in the direction to what I already cross-checked that told me that I could travel. and get a visa on arrival. So why are you denying me boarding at this point? That was what I couldn't understand. The customer care bot or AI, whatever, sent me the same link that I had, checked to see if we were eligible to fly and get a visa on arrival when we get to Egypt. Sent me the same thing. At that point, I was very frustrated. No one, and oh, did I mention that they also tried to get through to, was it passport control or something like that? And those ones were also saying the same thing. Like, can you imagine the embarrassment that we had to face? And then he goes, oh, um, don't get this whole thing wrong. It's not like we're trying to pick on you or something. I'm like, well, at this point, it probably looks like it, because why does your website say something different and you guys are saying something different on when we get here? Anyways, heading home, we gave up. And I feel like my friend could have traveled because she had a valid US visa, but I wouldn't have been able to. And I mean, according to her, what was the point? We're supposed to travel together and enjoy ourselves together and have a good time together and just unwind together. And it would have just been boring for her. So I mean, I guess she did not want to put forward that she had a US visa. I step aside and I'm trying to see how we can try to get the Egypt visa, and then I realized that it's not like the regular way that you apply for like a Morocco visa, where you feel like something's online, make payments and all of that. This one you have to send the application via post and then wait for a couple of days for them to get back to you. Da 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 da. I'm like, there is no way we are getting that in 36 hours. There is absolutely no way. So we're like, okay, let's try to call the consulate and see what information they are giving us. Because again, on the Egyptian website, it's safe to say that there is no clear information that states that certain people, especially Nigerians, can travel from the UK to their country and get an e-visa on arrival. As this is common knowledge already, like I there's been lots of people, even if you go on TikTok and you type Nigerian living in the UK to get visa on arrival in Egypt, you see most people recommending that. I put a call through to the Egyptian consulate, and I think when I got on that call, I was number three or number five, and I later got to number one, and I was number one for almost 1 hour 45 minutes, if not more. In total, I was on that call. If I did not hang up the first time, I was on that call for like more than 3 hours, going to 4 hours, no response whatsoever. Guys, I don't think livid begins to explain how I was feeling that day. I was, my, oh God, I felt like I was gonna explode. So I packed my bags and my friend is like, you know what, let's go home. I mean, what else are we gonna do? So we go home. I am feeling very sad, discombobulated. I don't think I can really find the words to describe how I felt that day. And I remember even on the bus, I broke down and started crying because I just felt very overwhelmed. I felt really sad. I'd looked forward to this day, and British Airways was just standing there, ready to take it away from me. I got home and we realized that the accommodation that we had booked like three accommodations. The first one that we booked was non-refundable. The other one, as soon as we requested for a refund, they cancelled it and said that it was also non-refundable. Our flight, British Airways was telling us that there was nothing that they could do about it. It's also non-refundable, and I refuse to agree to that because they are going to take responsibility for what they did. Connecting flights from Cairo to Ogada, they had like a refund policy, but it was more like half of what we paid for the flight. So as much as I know and as much as my friend knows, the only refund that we got was from that flight. Every other thing non-refundable. We lost over £2,000 in total just preparing for this trip, thanks to British Airways. I went through all of the stages of grief, and I still cannot believe that even those stages do not even begin to describe how I feel. I don't think even I haven't gone through all of those stages of grief. I still feel like I'm grieving. I mean, I do feel a lot better than when it initially happened because I came back home. I was really sad. I didn't go out of my house for almost 5 days. I was deeply saddened. And then on the last day of January, and then on the last day of December, which was December 31st, I fell sick. I had this sore on my mouth. My lip liner is covering that, great, thankfully. I had this cold sore on my mouth. I was feeling very weak. I had this severe headache non-stop that would not go. From the top of my head, the side, I was feeling absolutely rubbish. And I could not even relate if all of these things, like if getting sick was from stress, from the stress that I have gone through mentally, physically, financially, all the areas that I have gone through thanks to this occurrence with British Airways. And to think that I have never flown British Airways before, this was my first experience with them, as my friend highly recommended them. The only time that I have used British Airways was for my husband when I booked this flight. But as a person, I've always flown Virgin Atlantic, or when I was coming to the UK, I used Ethiopia Airline. But when I went back home, I found Virgin Atlantic really good. I have no complaints whatsoever. And for the life of me, I think I'm just going to be going back to Virgin Atlantic. And for the life of me, I think I'm just going to be going back to Virgin Atlantic because I would not want something like this to ever happen to me, or ever happen to my friends. Now, the only reason why I booked British Airways was also because I had Avios points. So as someone that has an American Express card, when you spend on your card, you gather Avios points. And we had, myself and my friend had a lot of Avios points, and we felt like that could take off some pound from our flight ticket, and that was why we booked British Airways. I was gonna let all of this go because truthfully I was exhausted in every area. And then my friend was like, no, we spent so much money. This is not money that we stole. We did not steal this money. It wasn't a lottery. We didn't win it in a lottery. We worked silly hard for this money. So we are not just going to let it slide. So my friend tells me, draws out like an email, and then we lodge like a formal complaint on British Airways customer service, sent them a mail and gave them like all the evidence and everything. Now it saddens me that when all of this was occurring, it never occurred to me to actually film or take pictures or that sort of thing, because I felt like that would have been more than enough evidence. Also, because I have never ever thought that it would ever happen to me. I used to see it on TikTok and see people sharing their stories about missing their flights or not being allowed to board for one reason or the other. But I just never thought that it would happen to me, because with flights and everything, I always do my due diligence and I'm very meticulous about it, because I'm spending a lot of money and I'm not just going to allow that money go to waste. Oh Lord. Anyways, we lodged a formal complaint, and I think it was around the end of the year slash new year. So I understood that the festive periods were still going on and they could be on holidays and all of that. Now when we launched, now when we sent our complaint, they had told us that they were going to get back to us in 7 to 10 working days. I'm still waiting. Yeah. British Airways is here to get back to either myself or my friend. So even as at when I am making this video, we do not know if you're going to be getting like a refund for our flights or for our Avios point or any compensation for all the money that they made us waste. I can't even believe that I am saying it. This whole occurrence just turned my December from good to terrible. I What can I even begin to describe what we felt? So Now we're just waiting for British Airways to get back to us, and I am going to make a shorter version of this occurrence that happened to myself and my friend. I'm going to make a shorter version, and if I do not hear from them by the end of January, I am going to post that shorter version on my TikTok and on my Instagram, and I'm going to be calling them out because somebody has to take responsibility for all that money that went down the drain. Somebody really has to. Somebody has to. Right. That was what happened from my December to January. And I will say that I'm in a better place mentally, physically. I'm ready to get back to work. I'm ready to start creating content, as you can see. But I need and I will be compensated for that loss that was incurred because of British Airways. We are not going to let it go. I am going to drag them by their spinal cord until I get my money back. I will drag the living daylight out of them. At least that's what I plan to do right now. I'm going to drag them. I'm going to get my money back. Anyways, that's everything that happened with me and my friend. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any advice, any tips, anything to go with, please let me know down in the comment section. I have also made a decision not to travel to any country that says that it is visa free for Nigerians unless I have a valid Schengen visa, because a Schengen visa was another thing that could save me. I remember that supervisor telling me that I needed to have ILR or have a British citizen. I remember the supervisor telling me that I needed to have ILR or be a British citizen for me to get visa on arrival. Whew, these green passports keep staining my white every goddamn time. Anyways, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, okay? Bye.
Alright, we could go band for band.